You finally fired up the grill, poured a drink, and sat down to watch the sun go down. 2 minutes later, you are slapping your arm, then your neck, then your ankle. By the time the burgers are done, you have surrendered the backyard to the mosquito and retreated inside again. Every summer, it is the same deal, and every summer you buy more cans of repellent and another box of Citronella candles that barely work. There is a better way, and it grows right in the pots on your patio. 9 plants that quietly send the bugs somewhere else. Now before you go digging, hear me out on this. A porch full of pretty leaves and a porch that actually works are two very different things, and a lot of folks get the difference wrong. A plant sitting in a pot does not throw out a force field. The bug-repelling power lives in the oils inside the leaves, and those oils only get into the air when the leaves get disturbed. University extension programs have made this point for years. The plant has to be touched, brushed, or crushed before it does much of anything. So the trick is not just owning these plants. It is putting them where you will actually rub up against them. Right next to your chair, beside the steps, along the railing where your hand drags as you walk by. Do that, and you have a renewable bottle of bug spray, growing at arm's reach for the price of 1 plant. Let me walk you through the 9. Number 1. Citronella geranium. You have smelled citronella your whole life, because it is the scent every one of those candles you keep buying. The citronella geranium, sometimes sold as the mosquito plant or citrosa, packs that same lemony oil right into its soft, ferny leaves. The difference is that a candle burns down to nothing in a weekend, and this plant keeps making the oil all season long. It is technically a scented geranium, so it grows beautifully in a pot, blooms with small lavender pink flowers, and asks for almost nothing beyond sun and the occasional drink. Here is the part that matters. The leaves have to be bruised to release the scent, so do not just set this plant in a far corner and expect results. Put it in a pot right beside where you sit, and every time you brush past it or run a few leaves between your fingers, you release a fresh burst of that citronella oil into the air around you. In zones 9 and warmer, it lives outside year-round. Everywhere colder, treat it like an annual, or bring it indoors to a sunny window over winter and set it back out in spring. A single starter plant runs about $4 or $5, which is less than 1 box of those candles, and it gives you the same fragrance for months instead of 1 evening. Number 2. Lemongrass. If you want the single most effective plant on this list, this is a strong candidate, and there is a good reason for that. Lemongrass is the actual source of citronella oil. The commercial stuff that goes into sprays and candles is distilled from this tall, grassy plant. That means you are growing the raw material itself right there on the patio. It shoots up into a fountain of arching green blades, 2 to 4 feet tall, and it makes a handsome centerpiece in a big container surrounded by smaller plants. Lemongrass loves heat and full sun, which is exactly the kind of summer afternoon when mosquitoes come out anyway. It is grown as an annual in most of the country and stays a tender perennial only in the warmest zones, roughly 9 and up, so most folks start a fresh plant each spring or overwinter a pot indoors. To get the repellent effect, snap off a stalk, peel back the outer layer, and rub the fragrant inner stem on a chair arm or even lightly on your skin. And here's the bonus that nobody expects. That same lemongrass is the ingredient that makes Thai soups and curries taste the way that they do. So you are growing a bug deterrent and a cooking herb in 1 pot. 1 plant from the garden center, usually $3 to $5, does both jobs all summer. Number 3. Lavender. Lavender is the plant that proves smelling wonderful to people, and smelling terrible to bugs can happen at the same time. We love that warm, calming fragrance. Mosquitoes, flies, and even moths cannot stand it. The oils in those silvery purple flower spikes are what does the work, and lavender keeps producing them through the whole bloom season. It is hardy in zones 5 through 9, comes back year after year once established, and shrugs off heat and drought like it was built for neglect, because it basically was. The catch with lavender is drainage. It comes from the dry, rocky hillsides of the Mediterranean, so it absolutely hates wet feet. Plant it in a pot with fast-draining soil, give it the sunniest spot you have, and water it only when the top couple of inches go dry. Set a pot of it on the table or right beside your seat, and brush your hand across the flower tops now and then to release the scent. The bonus benefits stack up fast here. You can cut the dried flower stems and bring that fragrance indoors. The bees adore the blooms all summer, and a bundle of dried lavender in a drawer keeps moths out of your linens. A starter plant costs about $4 to $6 and earns its keep for years. Number 4. Catmint. Catmint, the well-behaved cousin of catnip, deserves a lot more attention than it gets, and the reason is almost funny. The compound that makes cats lose their minds over catnip, called nepentolactone, also happens to be one of the more talked about natural insect deterrents out there. Researchers have pointed to it for years as a compound that bugs would rather avoid. And catmint is one of the easiest, toughest, most forgiving perennials you can grow. It forms a soft mound of gray-green leaves, topped with a haze of lavender-blue flowers that bloom for months. It grows in zones 3 through 8, which covers the cold northern gardens where a lot of plants on this list would never survive the winter. That alone makes it valuable if you are up north. It thrives in full sun, tolerates poor soil, and only asks for a hard shearing once mid-season to keep it tidy and blooming. Plant it along the edge of your seating area, or right beside the path you walk, where your legs will brush the foliage and stir up the scent. The bonus is the bees and butterflies, which swarm catmint flowers from late spring all the way to frost. One plant runs about $4 to $5, and you can divide it in a year or two to start a second clump for free. Number 5. Marigolds. Here is the one plant on this list you can pick up for the price of a candy bar, and it earns its spot, honestly. Marigolds contain a compound that has been used in natural insect products for a long time, and that distinctive musky scent the flowers give off is genuinely off-putting to mosquitoes and a number of other garden pests. They are bright, cheerful, and bloom their heads off in shades of yellow, orange, and deep rust from early summer right up to the first frost. Marigolds are annuals, so they live one season. But a packet of seeds costs about $2 or $3 and gives you dozens of plants, or you can grab a 6-pack of starts for a few dollars more. The smart move is to ring your seating area or your patio steps with them, because unlike some of the leafy plants here, marigolds give off their scent just by being there and being warmed by the sun, though a brush of the foliage strengthens it. They thrive on neglect, want nothing but sun and the occasional watering, and the bonus is twofold. Gardeners have planted them around vegetable beds for generations to discourage pests near tomatoes and beans, and if you let the spent flower heads dry on the plant at season's end, you can crack them open and save the seeds. That $2 packet turns into a lifetime supply. Number 6. Rosemary. Rosemary is the plant that works twice as hard as anything else in your garden. Those tough, needle-like leaves are loaded with aromatic oils, and when they get warmed by the sun or brushed by a hand, they throw off a piney, resinous scent that mosquitoes and many other flying insects steer clear of. Some folks even toss a few sprigs onto the grill coals, and the smoke carries that bug-deterring fragrance across the whole patio while the food cooks. In Zone 7 and warmer, rosemary is an evergreen perennial that lives for years as a woody little shrub. In colder zones, grow it in a pot and bring it indoors over winter to a bright window, and it will keep going. It is a Mediterranean plant, so the rules are the same as lavender. Full sun, fast-draining soil, and water only when the top couple of inches feel dry. Keep a pot of it right by the back door or beside your chair where you will reach over and run your fingers down a stem. And the bonus is obvious the second you smell it. This is one of the great cooking herbs. A single starter plant costs about $3 or $4, less than one of those tiny grocery store clamshells, and it pays for itself the first time you make a roast. If you are finding this useful, take a second and subscribe. This channel puts out budget gardening tips like this every week, and there is plenty more coming on easy ways to make your yard work for you instead of against you. Number 7. Basil. Grow basil for the kitchen and you may never realize it is pulling double duty. Those big, glossy green leaves are packed with fragrant oils, and that fresh, peppery scent that makes a tomato salad sing is the same scent that mosquitoes would rather avoid. The nice thing about basil is that you do not even have to crush the leaves for it to help. On a warm day, the plant gives off its aroma on its own, though a gentle brush of the foliage strengthens the effect noticeably. Basil is an annual that loves warmth and sun, so it is perfectly suited to a hot patio in June and July. A single 4-inch starter pot costs about $2 or $3, and one healthy plant will fill out a 12-inch container in a few weeks. Set it on the table where you eat outdoors, because that is exactly where you want the bug protection anyway, and where you can pinch a few leaves straight into your dinner. The bonus here writes itself. You get fresh basil for cooking all summer long, and the more you pinch and harvest, the bushier and more productive the plant becomes. Keep snapping off the flower tips when they try to form, and one plant will feed you and guard your table from spring well into fall. Number 8. Mint. Mint is the plant you grow in a pot and never, ever in the ground. I cannot say that strongly enough. Put mint in open soil and it will run wild and take over your entire yard within a couple of seasons. But contained in a pot, it's a wonderful patio plant, and that sharp, cool menthol scent it gives off when you brush against it is something a lot of biting insects would rather steer clear of. The oils are strong, the plant is tough, and it asks for almost nothing. Mint grows in sun or partial shade, handles poor soil, tolerates a mist watering, and comes back every single year in zones 3 through 11, which is just about everywhere. A single starter plant costs about $2 or $3. Set the pot near your feet beside your chair, because mint releases its scent the moment the leaves get disturbed, and your ankles are exactly where the mosquitoes love to bite anyway. The bonus list is long. Fresh mint for iced tea, for cocktails, for fruit salad, for cooking all summer long. Cut it back hard whenever it gets leggy and it bounces back thicker than before. There are dozens of varieties, from peppermint to chocolate mint, and they all cost about the same and grow the same way. Number 9. Lemon balm. We finish with one of the best-kept secrets for a budget patio, and it closes the list strong. Lemon balm is a member of the mint family, so it shares that family's toughness, and its heart-shaped leaves are loaded with citronella-type oils. Crush a leaf between your fingers, and you get a bright, lemony scent that bugs dislike, and that you can rub directly on your skin in a pinch as a quick, gentle deterrent on a buggy evening. It is one of the easiest things you will ever grow. Lemon balm is a hardy perennial in zones 3 through 9, coming back faithfully every spring, and like its mint cousins, it grows best kept in a pot so it does not spread where you do not want it. It handles sun or partial shade, forgives neglect, and fills out fast. Tuck a pot of it right beside your seat where you can grab a few leaves and rub them on your hands and arms before the mosquitoes find you. And the bonus is one of the most pleasant on this whole list. A handful of lemon balm leaves steeped in hot water makes a calming, lemony tea that gardeners have sipped for centuries to wind down at the end of the day. One starter plant, about $3 or $4, gives you a deterrent and a tea garden in a single pot. So there you have your 9. Add up what you would spend on those plants and it lands somewhere around $30 for the whole collection. And most of them come back every year or reseed themselves for free. Compare that to the steady drip of money you hand over for sprays and candles every single weekend from June to September, year after year, and the math stops being close. Just remember the one rule that makes all of it work. These plants are not magic. The oils have to be released to do their job, so do not bury them in the back of the bed where they look nice and do nothing. Put them where you live. Beside the chair, along the steps, on the table, around the railing your hand drags across. Brush them, crush a leaf, rub a stem. Do that, and you turn your patio into a place you can actually sit and enjoy on a summer evening. The way it was always supposed to be. If you enjoyed this, there are more stories like this on the channel.